don't use it to like replace you or replace people necessarily. Like there's ways that you can use it to enhance everything that you're doing.
Google can tell if it's written by AI or not.
The relationship, people are going to realize, man, we're missing that human connection.
You know what? You're the one who just told me that, my math idea was just simple in 6th grade math.
Well, it could be 4th grade math.
So, wow. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Elite Zone. We're already having a great Friday morning, just yucking it up here. Check out Justin's shirt. It's a little loud, but it fits his personality just fine.
Oh, he's got some louder ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you are you kind of like? Do you frankly wear the bright Hawaiian?
Yes.
That's kind of like your thing.
You should see
you
when
answering for me over here?
It's so awesome. You and your
It
wife.
is. No, you should lean into it. I mean, I look like a drug dealer today.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to have some color in here. Somebody's
True. I know. Shauna and I are very bland.
I got a color on a little bit.
Yeah, underneath
It's like
the black jacket. That's cool.
I have a thing for bomber jackets. I don't know.
Yeah, she's into the bomber jackets.
Yeah.
I do. I love them.
If
you see him and his wife, amazing. They are that couple that will match.
Oh,
and
really?
It gets vibrant.
That's
and
not
loud.
my idea.
It's adorable.
Hey, I think it's amazing because they go all out and they are all about it.
Yeah, I got to go along with my amazing wife's
Especially
scheme.
when she dresses up like a leprechaun.
No
on
way.
St. Patty's Day.
Oh, that's amazing.
Easter Bunny. I've seen some. It's pretty fun.
I'll bet. Yeah. She's on the shorter. She's petite, and you're quite tall.
She lost an inch this year. She's 5'1" now.
Really?
Yeah. She might not be happy with me saying that.
How did that happen?
Well,
I think she might have been
Just spinal
fudging
cord
her height.
compression. She's not that old.
Yeah.
My grandma, by the time she was 93 when she passed, was like only 4'11". So they get shorter and shorter.
Yeah. All those deadlifts, kind of like.
Yeah, she used to bench press tree stumps out in the farm.
Yeah.
Speaking of nothing to do with tree stumps or grandmothers or Hawaiian shirts, we're going to be talking about the quote unquote like big box real estate companies, the Zillows, the homes.coms, the realtors.coms. We hear more and more, I don't want to say complaining, but it's more like
Frustrations.
Frustrations from agents about these companies. So we want to get into it, and we want to help people strategize so they can own their own brand, own their own leads, and not feel so frustrated when Zillow is scooping everything up. Give them a chance to compete. So to start it out, like what's the Zillow problem here? Like when your name doesn't show up on your own listings, why is Zillow ranking higher than everybody? I mean, it's massive traffic. It's hundreds of thousands or if not millions of dollars of budget, marketing. How did this happen?
Well, I think they're a hugely funded company, right? I mean, nobody can really beat somebody that has 1,000 million times more money than you do.
True.
So they're able to put out a lot of advertising, a lot of SEO strategies out there to just beat everybody on the market. That goes for Redfin, homes.com.
Yeah, Redfin too.
Big ones. So it's hard, and that's where you have to come up with different strategies if you're just like the lone soldier out there trying to beat those things. And that's kind of one of those things, just one of many strategies, is just drilling down into specific areas that you are an expert in. I know Shauna's probably got tons more, but those are one of the things that we focus on.
There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of compete, outrank. There's enough business out there to go around. You just do have to get creative and you have to work at it. I think that it was us in the industry or agents like going and kind of fueling Zillow before they knew what Zillow's intentions were.
Yeah.
And now
loading in money for ads,
different
and
things,
leads,
right? And then all of a sudden, why are my leads going away, or why are so many people calling them, right?
I I think that's a great point too, because I don't mean to
No,
interrupt
you're
you,
fine.
but that's a great point because when they first started, like that was an amazing thing to get the average real estate agent's name out into the world. Like they thought it was the best thing since
Yeah, like
bread,
it's like
right?
here's a platform, and we're gonna like make you a star. We're gonna boost your. We're gonna you pay us, but we've got this huge engine with all this money behind us, and we're gonna help advertise you.
Yeah, so
I think a lot of people. That's why they say like, is anything really free? There's always a cost to it. You might not always see the cost in the beginning, but it could be using your data later.
That's how I feel about marriage.
Maybe
You be careful. Is anything really free here? It's
give and take, right? But there are ways to play in the game, and I think a lot of agents are realizing more and more that they want to stop sending their traffic to Zillow. But Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor, they do have money.
They do.
And you see them on Super Bowl ads. I mean, anybody who's on a Super Bowl ad, just know that you are paying, extra for that ad.
Yeah, like
right?
$7 million.
So that means your fees that you pay, your advertising is going to go up.
Yeah.
The cost of leads going to go up.
Right.
Right.
So Zillow's not a brokerage. They're not a brokerage.
They've tried.
Right? And what they do is they monetize agents' listings and take away from the pool of leads.
Yeah.
Right. And home buyers are searching online, and they're going to trust the first thing they see on Google.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the crux of the problem. But like in my experience, the bigger a company gets, even if they have a ton of money, the user experience goes down. Mm. You know what I mean? It gets more like everything is like, well, how can we streamline this? How can we make it easier and then more profitable? And then before you know it, it's kind of like, what's a good example of like a really big profitable company that cuts costs, like
McDonald's.
Yeah, like McDonald's or like Meta.
Like everything.
When was that? Yeah. When was the last time you were able to talk to somebody at Meta and get some real help? That's what I'm talking about.
That's a great comparison. Like compare that to like McDonald's back in the day. McDonald's, you could go in and get a burger that at the time you thought was amazing, and now we've learned throughout the years that, all right, maybe that's not the best food out there for us. And I think that's a great comparison with what Shauna was saying.
Yeah.
Like, in the
Quality
beginning
goes down, right?
In the beginning, yeah, it was great because we didn't really have any other avenues for real estate agents to get out there. But as technology grew, as social media got out there, as more information got out there, more information about how not great it was for them to be on that platform and how many more strategies that they could do to become, on the first page of Google or be seen, whatever that might be for their goals.
Yeah, for sure. And like, where I think they really fall short is Zillow does not know a neighborhood like a real estate agent does. No. Zillow, they might be able to pull stats and do searches and things like that, but a real estate agent that is out in the field and networking with people and is present and involved in their community is going to know a lot more of the lay of the land, right? And they can't do that. Otherwise, they would have to have people out everywhere, right? So that's something that I think agents can play into and use that as a strategy. And the whole Zestimate thing, those...
you talk to an agent, they hate that.
Yeah.
That's not accurate.
They're not accurate,
but
right?
You have to look at real estate, the sale, the whole process, transaction is relationship driven, right? And even though, information is at our fingertips, we've kind of become more educated in consumer tendencies.
Yeah. Or dumber with
possibly,
AI.
Right?
I just saw an ad that says clone yourself and make your AI handle all your decisions for you.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to think like, is this stuff
who's really
making
doing
me not learn stuff? Because I'm just like...
Possibly. Or is it depends on how you embrace it, right?
Yeah.
Could make, now I can do 10 people's job instead of just one, right?
Yeah.
So,
Or you can shift your focus to other things while you have AI. I didn't mean to take us in a tangent there.
No, but along those
just
lines of
blowing
like
me away.
what we've seen in the last 10 to 20 years of the transactions getting a little bit shorter, things are going faster, but the biggest thing is like even companies have tried to do the online buying, the iBuying
Yeah,
houses.
it's never
you know,
worked.
Sight on seat, like all of those things.
Open
it works
door
to
and all that.
a certain extent.
Yeah.
But you don't get to see what's going on in the neighborhood if you're not driving around it.
Yeah,
right? You don't get
exactly.
to see what's going on with the house if you don't look under, the roof, the hood, right? And so I think what you're going to see in the next 10 years is, things will get automated, AI will come in, but the relationship, people are going to realize, man, we're missing that human connection. And so AI is going to get us to a point, but you still are going to need, let's go walk around. You're still going to need somebody to guide you through that process.
Yep.
And that's where you're going to kind of see that shift in like, go away from Zillow more and more, take back your business, compete with them because Zillow cannot replace that agent.
I'm waiting for that, by the way. I'm waiting for the first real estate platform that's all AI. Find your house with all AI. Just search what you want and it'll just start delivering you specific. I'm just waiting for it.
Still, you like to her point too. You're going to need that level of personality and that personal touch.
Yeah.
And people only do business with people they like. They don't do business with AI they like.
That's true.
And there's no way to have that certain human connection with people. So I mean,
So that's always going to be a leverage point for a real estate agent.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
So then how do agents outrank Zillow? Let's get into the meat of it here. What do they have to do?
Actually work. No.
Well, right.
A lot of people want the instant gratification and the get rich quick. And, I got my real estate license, so now I'm going to make $1 million because I know people. Great thought, but you need to create a plan. You need processes. You need things. Use AI to help you get there.
Hell
right?
yeah.
But the biggest thing is look at your database, right? Because your database is your sphere, is the referrals you've built, the relationships you've built. It's not just leads, name, numbers, contacts. Like, what are you doing to reach out to them, right? How are you offering service that's not just click the button here, I'll show you that, right? What are you doing in your community? That's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to look at how do you follow up and nurture that. Then you got to look at, okay, the way that you're following up, nurturing, how is that helping you? Because it shouldn't just help in a sense of like the connection, but it can also help you online, right? People are searching more locally, right? So you've got to have a lot of different things set up. It's no longer just build a website, they're going to come. You're competing against trillions of websites out there.
Right.
You're competing against millions of agents, right? So you've got to work with a company or become that marketing expert, which you got to decide. Are you a marketing expert or are you a real estate expert?
And by the way, AI can be your marketing expert. Just like you said, I mean, if AI didn't exist right now, I wouldn't have a business because I wouldn't be able to clone myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So as an agent, I mean, obviously learn everything you can about AI. But when it comes to specifically outranking them, how do they do that online?
I think for me, you got to go to the underlying question, like what does outrank Zillow mean? Like, does that mean SEO or does that mean, having
ads.
better business? Can you make more money than Zillow can make money for you? And I think that's the underlying thought process for me is
so you can kind of decide what that means.
Well, you can't put thousands and thousands of dollars into Zillow and expect to make more money than you can if you do all of the things that Shauna was just talking about.
True.
Being that personal touch and that expert in the specific areas, setting people up on campaigns, really drilling down into specific areas and doing all of these things now that require you to outrank Zillow.
Right.
Per se. I mean, it's not just SEO anymore. It's
not at all.
Platitude of things.
Yeah. And Shauna, I think that's why I'll use the word harangue so much on the database and the follow-up and how you treat people, because literally you could be an agent and have one solid transaction and make a really good impression on one person, and they could go tell oh my God, this was the most amazing. Like, you got to meet this person if you look, and then that could spin off into 3 deals, 4 deals, 5 deals. You never know, right?
And it's like are you making the impression for them to refer? That one person can know 3. Those 3 know the other 3. It's like a trickle effect, right?
Right.
But if you're not doing anything to stay in front of them, research shows that you on average lose 20% of your book of business every year by not staying. And those are the like top companies, right? Just because you help someone do something once doesn't mean they're going to use you again. Mm-hmm. You could have thought you did a great job.
Yep.
What was their perception?
Yep.
Right. Also, if they're hearing another agent's name over and over, why would they go use you? Do they know that you're still there? You have to stay in touch with them, but you've got to do it in a non-salesy way. There's multiple ways, right? But that's the biggest thing is like you have the connection. Zillow doesn't have the connection.
Yep.
They just have a brand name. That's all they are.
That's all they are.
Is a brand name that invests. They're a marketing company.
I'll tell you something else Zillow doesn't have. Hyper-local video marketing.
Video marketing.
They don't
or
do
just
that.
Hyper-local. A lot of hyper-local. Like they'll drill down into a city, but it's all listing based off of agents' data that's in there.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
They pitch, hey, blog with us and we'll advertise you, but it's to increase their ranking, right? So yeah, you can do things to increase ranking. There's SEO, right? But most companies all provide that same basic SEO, right? So how do you stand out above on that arena? Well, are you blogging about your area?
And by the way, not just blogging anymore, not to interrupt you, but it's got to be, 1,200 to 1,600 words with videos, images, like real. It's, even this is, anybody can blog. AI can write a blog really quick, but Google wants the most accurate information and the most thorough information. Relevant, exactly.
Right? Like you said, AI could write a blog, but a lot of systems now and the algorithms are just going to change to go, hey, we know AI wrote this, so you're no different, right? It's not about like Google wants people to continue using Google, right? So you have to be relevant. You have to actually write something people want to read. Just because you have content, if nobody's reading it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Nobody's staying on your site. Google, it's a popularity contest. Google goes, hey, well, nobody's going to you. Even though you have the really big, long book here, people aren't reading it. So you're not valuable.
Yeah, and just in case nobody knows this, our listeners, Google can tell if it's written by AI or not. There's all sorts of, even teachers, they can tell. They test whether or not students.
How do they do that?
There is one site I know of, Zero Chat GPT or Zero GPT or something like that.
There's a few of them.
There's a couple of them.
But how do they do it?
Because it's all an algorithm.
They just look for patterns in different stuff. So they can just read one paragraph and say AI wrote this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or it was plagiarized, certain things.
AI thinks in patterns and responds in patterns. So it knows what those patterns are. And if it can give you along a sliding scale whether or not this was written by AI.
Interesting.
So really, and SEO is changing a lot too. I mean, it's going from we need as many blogs as possible to we need an expert to create a very long blog about a specific thing.
Go look at Neil Patel.
Absolutely.
That dude does it.
His
like
blogs
no
are
other.
20,000 words long,
And
graphs, videos,
images, graphics, CTAs. There's value
Because he
in every
knows
single
that
paragraph.
Somebody's probably not going to read the entire thing, but it will pick up pieces that are relevant to you.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing is like, are you actually appealing to somebody's interest? Does somebody actually want to watch it, read it? And that's the biggest thing. People go, oh, massive content. Okay, are you yourself going and reading your content?
I think you're talking about being genuine too, because that's what if we're talking about how SEO is changing, is Google going to be around the way it is, in the next 5 years, 10 years? Definitely not. I think we're talking about people are searching on ChatGPT and other AI platforms for answers directly. So how do you get AI to look at your website to be the answer for these people that are searching and get your name to pop up within the AI's response? And that's huge expert looking type of blogs.
Yeah, Justin, that's a great point. I really, there needs to be a psychological shift and you have to constantly be adapting. So I guess instead of having AI do everything for you, I think it's a better approach if you're willing to put the work in, which you should be, is to have AI research everything for you to feed your knowledge base. And then, if you can do the work yourself, do the work yourself. But if we're going to get to a point where if you make everything with AI and Google just knows, well, all your shit was made with AI, all of your stuff was made with AI, then, you're just going to be like another fish in the pond.
Yeah. I think the challenge is a lot of people, they'll put something in to some ChatGPT or something, and then it spits something out and they just copy and paste. They don't read through it. They don't try to alter the tone, the messaging. Like, you have to kind of play with it back and forth to get it to adjust. The biggest reason that you use AI is to help the overthinking, right? To kind of map out all your ideas and get it out of your head instead of like ruminating on it.
Yes.
Right? And then, to give you other ideas. Like, what are the other possibilities we could do? Hey, will you proof this? What's another way that I could say this?
Yep.
Don't use it to like replace you or replace people necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways that you can use it to enhance everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
to make it better.
That'd be a great article for us to write on.
It would be. Yeah. So one idea would be, instead of paying, go into ChatGPT or whatever and type in, hey, I'm a real estate agent in X, Y, and Z neighborhood, and I understand that Zillow has way bigger ad budget than I do, but I'm trying to outrank them. Can you list out 10 ideas on how I can do that and see what it comes up with?
Yeah.
Stop giving them all your money. You're not going to out budget them, right? That's just not going to happen. But also, if you're showing up where your buyers and sellers are, visibility equals credibility. If you're doing video marketing, if you're a community expert, you know what I'm saying, and you have a personality. Zillow doesn't have a personality, So, well, maybe the Zillower has a personality, but he looks not good. You don't want to run into that guy. Right. But yeah, so, it's more about like going an inch wide and a mile deep and being thoughtful with your content. And, you don't need to you don't need to rank number one for any single real estate in so-and-so area. I mean, if you're like localized to, a 20 block radius, just focus on that little area and go out there and, do your thing, your foot game. But then, the content you have, make it thoughtful, make it localized, make it homey. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the approach I would take. But I would be using AI to help me with those ideas because AI is a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is just using these things as tools. Even Zillow, use it as a tool. AI as a tool for yourself and how to get better. And become that expert, that local expert.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely use Zillow as a tool. You don't want, it's there. It's not going anywhere.
It's not the end all be all.
It's not the end all be all, but if I'm a real estate agent, I'm definitely going to make sure my face, name, reviews are there. Why? Because it does get traffic.
And it works, by the way.
It does work for some.
Reviews work.
People go and check them, right? So use it as a way to drive traffic back to you or your site. But don't use Zillow as a way for you to drive your traffic back to them, thinking that it's all going to still come back to you.
You need your own digital footprint.
You do.
Yep.
You do. You need to use, most of us don't have like an office anymore, right? Even if you think about like the real estate, like they have a broker office, but that doesn't get a lot of foot traffic anymore. Right? So
people aren't walking by and being like, "Oh, look at that picture of that home on the window of that real estate agency. Let's go in there and talk to somebody."
Those were the good old days,
right?
So your office now is your website, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to make sure you're controlling your brand, your name, your contact information.
That's most important.
That's the biggest thing. That's where it's like making sure you have your Google business, making sure that you're getting reviews on more than just Zillow.
Yes.
Right? Google, Facebook, Zillow. I mean, there's so many places that you can get reviews. And so it's like diversifying everywhere you're at.
Exactly.
I just got a great picture of somebody walking through a local neighborhood with all these real estate companies and small brick and mortar. You got the pictures of the homes that they have listed up there. But then people are walking around, but you're outside telling them, oh, go over to that factory right across the street to look at my listings over there. And it's just a huge building and people are everywhere.
Yeah.
instead, you want to be that.
Instead of driving them to the factory,
Instead of
drive
driving
them to
to
you,
the
right?
factory, drive them to you, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Bring them by the busload.
round them up.
Yeah.
A couple of things. I'm going to do just a couple of shameless plugs here, just because it's a good idea. It is. First of all, very quietly underneath all of these podcasts, I have Agent Elite. It's like a subconscious thing, like what do they call that? Subliminal messaging. So I just bring the volume way down to like where you can't really pick it up, but
So
it's
you're
just in play.
brainwashing them.
Yeah, I'm brainwashing.
Okay.
I'm brainwashing you. That's what we're doing here. We're brainwashing you. No, but look, there are a couple of tools that we provide that will help build a strong digital footprint. And I feel like we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't at least mention what those tools are. So what are they and how do you use them?
Yeah. We've got your biggest foundation is your website with your IDX, but it's not just having a website anymore with IDX. It's got to be connected to, some type of automation, nurturing, right? How do you get more people to a real estate website? You keep emailing them and send them back to them. You text them and send them back to them, right? You always want to bring them back to you. Mm-hmm. But what we see a lot is they email and then they send them to a different site, or they send them to the MLS, or they send them over here. Some people even send them to Zillow.
Yeah.
Right? And so the only thing you're doing when you send them to Zillow
To
or
my
your
agent page
broker
on Zillow.
or your agent page is it goes, if you look at the top, there's another thing that says view all agents, and they click it and now they're looking and shopping around agents instead of homes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We do everything that we can to educate and tell people where to go. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to put in the work because you are a real estate agent, not a marketer, right? We have tools.
Yes.
The website with automation, behavioral tracking, bringing everybody back to you. We've got things like local presence, right? Your reputation management. We help you get reviews on places. We help you manage your reputation around. Why is that important? Because in the eyes of Google or any AI, they're looking across all these hundreds of websites to verify who you are. What is your ranking?
How credible is this person?
Right?
I think that's the most
That's
valuable
the
tool that we
biggest.
have.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's becoming a visibility game. Mm-hmm. But now there's so much visibility that now you have to be visible, but you also have to stand out. Mm-hmm. So you got to have some sort of
and
personal
the biggest thing that we
brand.
do is we help you create the consistency in those things. A lot of people will either sell you or tell you, hey, go do it once, you're good. But no, you have to keep working at it.
Yeah,
right?
there's no
just
there's
because
no
you
set
built
it
the
and forget it.
database and you emailed them once, if you don't keep staying in contact with them, they will forget you.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with your online reputation, your business storefront, right? You're constantly, it's a game of like infinite competition.
Yes.
Why? Because the minute you stop, somebody else is already working towards it.
For sure.
Going to outrank you anywhere.
Right. And as a marketer, the insane thing about how good marketing is these days is that when I'm scrolling something and I see something I'm interested in, and it's like, we guarantee you're like, it's just like, I know this is a trick, but I'm still filling out the form. Mm-hmm. So like, be any agent out there, I'm just saying, like, be wary of any guaranteed listings. In 30 days, you'll make, 500,000 in commissions, or your system is free. Like all of this kind of like, there is no set it and forget it. Just like you can't go to the gym, 1 or 2 times and then you come out of there and you're set for life. Like this stuff takes work.
Yeah,
the tools are only as good as you. Yes, it's consistency as you put into it, which is why. And by the way, the behavioral tracking that you manage, like that's how people are selling. That's how the major corporations are selling stuff now. Mm-hmm. They know your behavior. So if you're able to leverage behavioral tracking as a real estate agent, I mean that's a huge leg up right there.
Yeah.
So
I think like while we're talking about like the tools that we have, why do we even have the tools that we have in the first place? Well, if I can, I always go back to the underlying issues, or the underlying reasons why we're doing things, and that's, I've been doing this for 14 years, 18 years if you want to count the 4 years of freelance that I was doing before, and it was all the underlying issue or reason for all of that was just to help people and help people become financially free. And if our expertise in real estate is the way that we can do that and in websites, then that's what we want to do. And we're only going to bring in the tools that can actually help real estate agents become successful, or anybody, who knows? I mean, we can get into any and all types of businesses later on down the road. But it's just, I wake up in the morning because I know there's, literally tens of thousands of people relying on me and us to get this stuff done.
Yep.
And make sure that their families are successful, their kids, who knows, the parents, because they might be taking care of parents.
Maybe living in an ADU on the property,
Yeah, your mom
Mom's
might have just
coming
moved
over.
into your ADU.
Man, I better get a couple of more listings up there.
Get her
Mom's
on.
got fancy taste.
So it's just, the fact that people are relying on us to do good things, good things will come back to you if you do that.
Exactly. And, just like my sponsor says, footwork always yields results eventually.
Absolutely.
But you have to do the footwork.
Yeah. That's where consistency, grit, is going to outwork talent.
Yep.
When talent's not working, right? So if you don't put in the work, and I think it's, we do skits and stuff on it.
Yeah, we're about to do some today.
There's so many times agents call in and said, well, I did it once. Hey, I just signed up with you, or I signed up with this other company 2 weeks ago and they haven't done anything. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's getting down to, what is it that you're expecting? It's all about communication and expectation on that.
Why do you think they have that thought that, okay, they do it once or twice and then they think they should be making thousands of dollars a month?
Society.
Yeah, it's it's
instant
the
gratification.
The instant economy we live in.
Right?
Okay,
think about it. When Netflix and everything first started, they were sending you the DVD, right? Or even before that, Blockbuster. You had to go in and get the movie, take it, rewind.
There's a lot of sweat equity in that.
As it's gotten faster and faster, right, with technology, now it's like no longer are you waiting for a show once a week. The whole series comes out and you binge it in a day.
Well, not only that,
right?
but
Which I do love. But
yeah, but the problem now though, and this is happening in business too. I'll go to find something to watch, and for 2 hours I'll just be looking through what's new to watch. There's too many options.
Yeah.
And then I'll just turn it off and be like, I gotta go now. So now it's like I'm looking for the best, most thrilling, most highly rated series that everybody's talking about, right? So you can't just be somebody in the pond that's good. Like, there can be a good show out there, but like if it ain't like Breaking Bad, like I'm not gonna go sit down and watch it. Like I always look at the reviews. I'm always like, if people are talking about it,
the new referral.
Exactly.
So you have to constantly be putting yourself out there.
Yes.
Or somebody else is going to come above you.
Yeah, exactly.
it's either paralysis by analysis or you're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yes. Yeah. I think that the subpar agent with a awkward personality that is consistently trying to get better is going to beat the people person who's just like, well, I'll just kind of half-ass it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think also the expectation for just being an entrepreneur in general and a business owner is that, okay, I just have to start a bank account and get a brick and mortar or get a website and I should be good to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand that, like, there is blood, sweat, and tears behind all of that stuff for 20 hours a day for
Because
years
that's
and
not
years and years
shared.
on end.
No.
You
it's
see
not.
the successes, but you don't see the tireless, like the sleepless nights, the the failures. Like how many times did you try something and fail before you hit that success? Right? How many calls did you make before you got that transaction? Right? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to talk about the hard work, but they all want the success and the win.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've built websites for clients and they're like, yeah, like, okay, build this website, what else do I need? And I'll be like, well, you need good SEO, you need a content strategy, you need boom, 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 boom. They're like, well, I don't want to do all that. Just build me a website. And then I build them a website. And then like a month later,
I don't
they're
have
like,
any leads.
well, yeah, I'm not showing up on Google. Like people aren't coming. Why? I'm like, well, because you need all that other stuff I was talking about, right? Because you have to drive people there.
It's no different than when you're like selling a home, right? Oh, I didn't get a transaction. I haven't sold a home. Okay, work the equation backwards. How many appointments did you make? How many calls did you make? Outreach. Like you have to work everything backwards. What does it take to sell a home?
Yep.
Well, how many homes do you have to show to sell one?
Yeah, it's numbers,
Okay.
right?
Well, how many, contacts do you have to make to even show a home? How
Right.
many, you have to work it all backwards.
Yeah.
And it's numbers, it's grit,
Yeah.
it's consistency.
Yep.
Same thing with the gym.
And what you could do is, if you know some numbers, and let's say you've been an agent for 2 or 3 years, and you want to get up to that next level, and you take the commission that you made over a year, divide that whatever by figure in your split, the number of deals you made, and get all that mapped out, and then go into an AI and say, this is what I made this last year. I want a 10% increase or a 15% increase on that this year. I sold this many homes. Here's all the marketing stuff I did. Here's what I spent on it. Calculate all of this and tell me over the next year how many calls I have to make, how much marketing money I should budget.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't need AI for that. You should have been doing that before AI.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But I'm not I'm not a numbers guy, so
Yeah. Well, in
that's
business,
what I would do. But I'm also not a real estate agent. But to your point, yes, you should be taking your commission goal and working backwards and saying how many calls, how many appointments, how many,
That's just simple, like 6th grade math.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't even break it down that way. They just say, I want to do better. What does that mean?
Right.
Well, I want to sell more than I did.
You got to define it,
What did
right?
you sell? Well, I sold this many, but I want to do even more.
Right.
Okay, what plans do you have? Are there anything that you're doing to change that? Yeah, I'm going to work harder. What does that mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
working hard for me is going to be a way different definition than a lot of people out there.
And a lot of people don't want to face that challenge.
No,
They don't
we're
want to
not
be able
taught
to say,
that.
"Oh, I don't think I can make 300 dials in a day."
But where and anywhere did you learn to break that down? Right, you're taught create a goal, work hard for that goal.
What does
What does that
hard
mean?
Yeah,
Right, it's
you gotta
subjective. So
define
you've
it.
got to really, really define it.
Yeah.
And you got to put it on paper. You got to write it down.
Yep.
A
That's
vision
why-
board, however you have it, because if you don't know where you're at, how are you going to improve that to get where you want to go?
Exactly. That's why it bothers me when people just say, "Well, I just want to be happy." Like, yeah, but okay, but what
is happiness?
what is happiness?
Define it.
Exactly. So you have to define. You got to be razor focused on these things. And by the way, the whole vision board thing I thought was the dumbest thing ever.
Until I started doing
They
it.
work.
Yeah, what
My
do you know?
God, they work. But when I first saw people doing that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're.
It was even the mindset of hey, think positive like this. And I'm like, what do you know?
But it works.
But it works. And
It's
I am
so
a firm
crazy.
believer in mindset and positive thinking. My license plate says mindset.
Yes, it does.
I mean, so it works.
Oh,
but-
actually, it says mindset, but
No, it's mindset.
did they wouldn't let you do the whole thing? Is it too many letters?
Somebody already has
Somebody already
something,
has
so
it,
you
of
have to-
course, of course. What's your license plate say?
84329 8H something.
All right, guys. Well, look, this has been really good. I mean, let's do the final thoughts. The top 3 things an agent can do right now to pull away from giving all their money to Zillow, giving all their leads to the big box corporations, building their own brand and actually achieving their goals. What are they? What's the 1, 2, 3? Let's keep it simple.
Top 3, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't keep something like that.
Hey,
simple,
man, you know
but-
what? You're the one who just told me that, my math idea was just simple in 6th grade math.
Well, it could be 4th grade math.
So, wow.
well-
you see how rude he is to me?
It's my dry humor coming out. But that's okay. Number 1, go with Agent Elite. Number 2, realize what your goals are and what that hard work takes. Define that. And 3, do the things that other people wouldn't do. You got to be special.
Yes.
To do this stuff,
Which is a great point. Do what other people are not willing to do.
And I can even add a 4. Decide if you even want to do those things, because this is not for everybody.
No.
So I don't want you to lose money getting into it if it's just not part of who you are.
Yeah. Shauna?
Mine's more on the lines of create a plan, write it down, and commit to it.
Write it
Right?
down.
Those are the biggest things.
Yep.
And it's not commit to it for a day. I did it good last week. Why isn't it working? No, do it for a year, 2 years straight.
Yep.
You will find success.
Yep.
Right? I'll add a fourth because he did. At least reach out to Agent Elite and give us a call so that we can help you strategize.
Yeah, that's free.
We're not telling you to sign up with us, but if you could learn one thing from us, that's all we care about is like, how can we make the industry more successful?
Yes.
That's really our goal.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we're easy. I mean, my number is 651-253-6960. If you call me and say, I saw your podcast, I'm a real estate agent, I want some free help, I'll say, sure. What do you need? You can visit the website. You can find us on social media and whatnot. You can, share this episode with all of your friends.
Be a guest on the podcast.
Be a guest on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And
how many podcasts give out their cell phone numbers?
I mean, hey, look, I'm even on the posts online, I'm always like, just throw me a DM. I don't care. You can do whatever. It's all about just helping people, like you said. These people rely on us,
Yeah. Can I throw it back at you? What are your top 3 things?
My top 3 things, I think would be like number one, if you to outrank, like you're not going to outrank Zillow online unless you have a rock star content strategy. So I would say find the things that Zillow is not doing and start doing those. We talked about the hyper local video marketing, talked about leaning into your specific community. So I think that's the first thing. I think 2 is build up your personal brand. We talked about having so many fish in the pond, about how I can't find the best new show to watch. And even if I start within 20 minutes, if it's not just the most captivating thing, maybe I'm going to skip this one, right? So you have to do something to stand out. And I'm not saying do what other people are doing, but think about your personality. Think like you could be the Hawaiian shirt guy, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, already am. See, that's you. And I guess number 3 would be find a mentor, find a coach, find somebody that can help you with this stuff. Talk to them. I've learned through banging my head against the wall numerous times that sometimes I just have to say, look, I don't know anything about this. I got to talk to somebody that does. So those are my top 3 things.
Sweet.
Number 4, since you added a 4th and so did you, subscribe to this show. Listen to it when it comes out. Share it with people. Comment. Tell us, hey, I agree. I don't disagree. I agree. I don't agree. Whatever. But
part of the community.
Yeah. Exactly. Be part of a community. It doesn't always have to be outrank, win, be the best agent. There's plenty of business out there for everybody, right? It's about finding your lane, your thing, and then doing that consistently as best as you can.
Yeah, and you talked about happiness earlier. Happiness is really just a moment in time. I think what people are looking out for is to be content.
Yes.
So what is that for you?
What does it mean? What does it mean to be content? Think about that until we see you guys next time on Elite Zone. Have a great week, everybody.
See you.